Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome to Ask the Organic Guy. This is a segment that's all about really trying to answer some of the most asked questions on our organic and sustainable agriculture in general. So this should be fun. And the thing about it is that you can also participate in it. So if you have a really burning question or a concept that you'd like me to explain, be very happy to do that. Just send me a tweet on X, especially using the hashtag #AskTheOrganicGuy, and I will be very happy to do that on my next video. So today I want us to answer the question, what is agroecology? Right? Is one of the most used terms within the sustainable agriculture movement. And by the look of it, actually, it's not really a complicated term. Okay, it's just a combination of two words, agro and ecology, but apparently it's not. Okay, if you went to the internet right now, especially on Google, and try to search what's agroecology, you'll find very long and winding definition of what agroecology is. 3, 4, 5 sentences trying to define agroecology, that's just a lot of words for me. Might be useful for academics, but for me and you want to use it on a day-to-day lives, that's a long definition. And here's another striking thing. Apparently, agroecology has 13 principles. Right? So I don't know about you, but those are a lot of principles. Okay? And there's no point of trying to understand all the 13 principles, leave alone trying to cram 13 of those principles. So my goal really by the end of this video is to give you a really short definition of what agroecology is, and really give you a definition that you can be able to use on your day-to-day life. Okay, so if you met someone, for example, in a matatu or in a lift, and they asked you what is agroecology, you can be able to tell them and give them a really easy definition of what agroecology is, right? So that's the goal of this video. All right, so as you can see, it's a really, really straightforward definition, right? So we have agroecology is basically a combination of two words, right? Agro, which means agriculture, right? And ecology, right? So basically this is the study of how living organisms interact with the environment, interact with their environment, right? So basically what the founders of the agroecology movement were trying to do is they were asking themselves, how can we integrate, right, these principles of ecology, of living with and the environment, right, of living with nature, to agriculture? That's all. That's what they were trying to do here. And on their search, they found out actually there are very pretty important principles that can be seen in nature, that can be seen in our environment, that can be applied in agriculture, right? One of those principles is, for example, in nature, there were a lot of species, right? There were a lot of species, and they were asking themselves, how can that be applied in agriculture, right? One way is to grow a lot of crops in your farming system, right? So you have to have biodiversity in your farm rather than growing a lot of monocultures, as it is the expected outcry of our agriculture system nowadays. One thing that, anything else that you can observe in nature, of course, in nature, soils are never bare, right? Soils are always covered, right? Soils are covered. So they transitions that principles into agriculture. And what do you always see with agroecological farmers? Well, they do have cover crops, right? Okay, when you go to an agroecology farm, it's very rare you see a farm that is sort of bare, right? We know what happens to bare soils. There's a lot of erosion that happens there, hence losing a lot of fertility. What else do we also observe in nature, right? Number three, for example, in a forest, you've never seen governments try and fertilize a forest or taking synthetic fertilizers into the forest, right? There is recycling of nutrients in nature, okay? Recycling of nutrients. That's why in an agroecological farm, you'll always find something like composting. Farmers trying to use the readily available nutrients into their farms. In nature, of course, you'll find some trees there, right? Trees, agroecology farmers. You will also see them practicing agroforestry, so integrating trees in their farms. So these are all principles that are found in nature. Basically, the founders of the agroecology movement who are like, you know what, these are basic principles that are found in nature that can be integrated into agriculture as well. But the problem is, if you leave it at this, then this looks like any other sustainable farming system, right? So organic agriculture also has all these principles in it. Permaculture also practices all this. Biodynamic, natural farming, you name it, probably has. So if you leave it at this definition, it doesn't quite make sense. But here's how agroecology actually makes sense. And here's the very critical and the most important point that you should always remember about agroecology. And there's a reason why actually a lot of NGOs love agroecology, okay? If you go to their documents or on their website, you will always find agroecology mentioned. You know why? Because agroecology integrates social values to its farming system. Social values. And what are social values? Social values, these are basically beliefs, okay, and principles that a group or a community finds very important. That's why in the agroecology circle, you'll find people using things like food sovereignty, right? So this is the ability, or this is the rights for individuals to have access to really healthy and culturally diverse food systems. You'll find them using words like social justice, right? So fairness within the farming system. You'll find them using words like community empowerment, right? You find them using words like equity and equality. You find them using words like self-reliance or local resilience. So these are all social values that are being integrated into the farming system that group, that community finds it important. So if you combine those two values that have been integrated into agriculture, then that's when you find actually my definition of how I like to define agroecology. And how I define agroecology is a socio and ecological farming system, right? So this is how I define agroecology. I told you I'm going to give you a very simple and hopefully a really easy to understand definition of what agroecology is. So why social? Well, because it has integrated social values into its farming system. Why ecological? Because it has integrated ecological values into the farming system or into agriculture. All right, so that's it. So if someone asks you next time, let's say you're in a matatu and what's agroecology, a really, really easy definition you can use. Agroecology is a socio and ecological farming system, right? So I hope that one helps. So let me know what you think of this definition. Did I leave something out or what should I add? But remember, my definitions, I believe, if you're going to define something, it has to be less than 10 words. Anything above 10 words is just hectic. Okay? So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Till the next one, remember to be organic. Cheers.